was a fundamental part of the founding of America, the institution of the despicable act of slavery. Rhode Island would become one of the biggest slaveholding states in the country. Now, it is time to take a look back on the tradition we will forever despise.
Massachusetts Bay Colony had passed a law that had limited slavery to some extent, but also kind of legally allowed it, right? And in 1652, Rhode Island followed suit and passed a kind of anti-slave law, but in the course of kind of writing the law indicated that it was a common course or a common practice for people in Rhode Island to have slaves of African descent.
New England doesn't develop a monoculture like the South, but slavery was still important for the economy, and over the course of the 18th century, there was a large demand for labor, especially in the western Narragansett region. The biggest arrival was the importance of the city of Newport.
Newport is this, it's important to remember that this is kind of before the era of the Cape Cod Canal, right? So in terms of, economic networks and transportational networks, Newport emerges as kind of the largest and most important port in southern New England. And if you want to get to Boston, if you're coming up the coast, you've got to go all the way around Cape Cod. So we often talk about the idea of the triangular trade, which is one way to think about it, but it's much more, it's like anything, right? It's much more complex than that kind of model shows. But still, this idea of Newporters, they start to kind of specialize in distilling, molasses into rum, using rum as a form of kind of trade good and currency in West Africa, picking up enslaved Africans, and then, going to the Caribbean. So going to places like Barbados and Jamaica and Antigua. Agriculture across Rhode Island is really kind of scattered, but one of the interesting things about Rhode Island is that because it's very much a kind of maritime colony, it's a maritime region, it's accessible by kind of via water. That means that those connections are pretty strong. And so you do see, the institution of slavery emerge really all over Rhode Island. And in fact, in the city of Providence, it becomes really common. I mean, there's an interesting distinction because there are in the urban centers, the type of work and labor and living conditions are different from kind of the larger kind of plantation style that you see in places like Narragansett. And that also has kind of cultural implications as well, right? In terms of the persistence of African traditions, in terms of things like Christianization, in terms of naming patterns and education and community building and all these types of things. There were merchant families who were intimately involved and who kind of led the effort for the transatlantic slave trade. But I think a really important thing to know is that slavery was embedded into the social and political and cultural fabric of these colonies. It's also, somewhat easy to kind of not blame, but say, oh, the Browns and the DeWolfs and the Gardners and those people were bad, right? If you look at the 1774 census, right, you actually find that, about a third of the people in Newport, anyways, a third of the people were slaveholders. We can talk about the Browns and the DeWolfs and the Gardners and the Vernons but there's a kind of deeper kind of layer there where really everyone in society was in some ways kind of implicated and certainly affected by this process, because it was such a ubiquitous and consistent part of the kind of cultural fabric and the social fabric of this colony and eventually the state. So at the time that there is momentum for challenging slavery and challenging the slave trade, there's also these families like the DeWolfs and the Gardners and others who emerge in the 1780s and the 1790s as major slave traders. And so actually what we see is, in a period of revolution with this rhetoric of all men are created equal in liberty and justice and freedom and happiness and all that, you would think and you would hope that, slave trading would decline. The exact opposite happens. Actually, this is precisely the time when the DeWolfs and the Gardners start to emerge, and other people as well, but they start to emerge as kind of major kind of family dynasties built around the transatlantic slave trade. What's interesting about the history of Rhode Island is that Rhode Island does not necessarily have that kind of big moment, right? But what is really interesting is that there are all these other kind of more subtle and also not so subtle ways to resist, right? So if you look in the court records, we see evidence of, and this goes in a lot of different directions. This is kind of includes master abuse of enslaved peoples, but it also includes things like violence between masters and slaves, violence between enslaved peoples and servants who are living in the household. Like if you go into the court record, you actually see a lot of examples of this. But the other thing that's really interesting is that there are a lot of runaway advertisements. A lot of times this is really well planned, right? So if you look at the things that they carried with them, they carry multiple pairs of shoes, multiple types of clothes, right? Because maybe you could sell them or maybe you could trade them, right? They carry away, I mean, sometimes they carry away small pieces of furniture or blankets. And some of that might be like, oh, well, you would need that if it's cold and things like that, if you're running away. But I think my sense of it is a lot of times it's used to kind of to barter or to get leverage, right? In order to get on a ship. And a lot of the laws in the 18th century in Rhode Island are not necessarily concerned with rebellion necessarily. They're more concerned with mobility. We see things like it's common in terms of like slave sales to think about auction blocks and slave auctions, and that did happen in Newport, and it was fairly common, right? But again, there were other forms of like enslaved trade going on, right? So instead of just kind of having a large slave auction with hundreds of people or something, you would have a for sale ad in the newspaper that says that they're trying to sell one enslaved African, and if you're interested in ask the printer, right? And they can get you connected to the person who's trying to do this. Or if Caleb Gardner is going to Africa to engage in the slave trade, they're asking for, oh, well, if you can find like a young boy 10 to 15 years old or something, that would be useful in my as a household servant, get them. I think there is a momentum for the end of slavery in Rhode Island. And I think that's sparked by a couple of things. I think it's part of it is, the kind of revolutionary ideals. I think part of it is kind of Christian humanitarianism. I think part of it is kind of the changing economic nature of Rhode Island as well. So I think part of it is a moral argument, but part of it is also an economic argument because, as Newport, post-revolutionary world, Newport is not what it was in terms of being a transatlantic slave port, right? And we know that in terms of slave trading, that economic power starts to move to Bristol. But in terms of the overall economic power of Rhode Island, that moves up north, and that becomes, Providence and Pawtucket and industrialization and factories. And there's a different kind of model for kind of economic success. There is a major law in 1784 that Rhode Island passes, which is a gradual emancipation law. That would mean that, anybody born after March in 1784, they had kind of a limited period of time with which they could still be enslaved. But if you're born before March of 1784, you could still be enslaved for life. That law doesn't necessarily touch you. And so we actually know, if you look at census records from Rhode Island into the early 19th century, there's still slaves, right? So even like decades after the passage of the gradual emancipation law, it's still there. The story doesn't necessarily end with the passage of the gradual emancipation law in 1784, or it doesn't necessarily end even when people become emancipated, because the legacies of slavery really impact and shape Black experiences in early Rhode Island. I think it's about, thinking about the kind of the long shadow, right, that slavery had cast over early American history, that it doesn't just, end and then all of a sudden, everybody's equal and free. No, it's really like it slowly erodes, and then people have to kind of struggle with the legacies that it leaves behind.
Up until November of 2020, the official name of Rhode Island was Rhode Island and Providence Plantations, a name heavily linked to slavery. The fight to end slavery would continue, but there would still be many who fought to continue the disgusting tradition onward.
Oh my god, this is so funny. Roomies, we're doing this TikTok trend.
What's the trend, Yana? I don't have TikTok because it doesn't preach the word of God.
Mary, get a grip. I don't care, we're doing this trend. Where's Becca?
I don't know, I think she's still at a guy's house.
Becca, oh thank God.
You really shouldn't take the Lord's name in vain.
Mary, shut up. What TikTok trend are we doing?
Oh, it's right. Everyone takes a pregnancy test, and you mix it all up, and then it's like a little roulette you pick, and like who's pregnant, we'll all put it in, we'll take a test, it'll be great.
I am not doing that.
Oh, come on. Becca, girl, I've been telling you for months you might be pregnant. Now's the time to find out. It'll be funny.
I'll do it. It's all gonna be negative anyway. God wouldn't give us the miracle of a baby if we weren't ready for it.
Fine, make it quick. I have another boy to see in an hour.
Hi, my name's Gianna. People call me G, as in gorgeous. I'm from Jersey, best state in America, am I right? I love to party, but I still get my work done, unlike some people.
I'm Becca. You're really lucky I made time for this. I usually have guys lined up anytime I want, and sleep is for the dead. I don't care about school.
Hi, I'm Mary, and I'm the mom of the group. But to be totally honest, I have a bit of a secret life. I have a rotation of hooking up with 3 guys, but Gianna cannot know. She can't know. She has the biggest mouth ever.
Alright, everyone take it, give it back to me, I'll mix them up, and then we'll find out who's pregnant.
This is so stupid.
Oh, shut up. You're just worried it's gonna be positive.
No, I'm not. You are psychologically insane. I could diagnose you with at least 4 mental illnesses right now.
Guys, come on, let's not fight.
Yeah, alright, Virgin Mary. Go take the test.
Geez, stop making us do this.
I genuinely believe you're pregnant. So wait for all of us to find out.
If anyone, it's not me.
What do you mean? You talking about me?
No, don't worry about it.
Okay, where should I put this now?
In the bag, honey. You next, mommy.
You know, it could be you who's pregnant. It's not you don't get around either.
Excuse me? I'm educated, unlike Becca.
Still, you shouldn't count yourself out.
Your turn, psycho.
My pleasure.
Mary, I'm kind of worried one of the tests is going to be positive, and it's not going to be mine.
What? You think Gianna's pregnant?
No, I think you could be, and I'm nervous for you.
Why me? Could be you too. You're sleeping somewhere new every night.
I'm on the pill and you're not. It's not going to be me.
Let's just see what happens.
What's going on here? Are you already planning where to build a nursery?
Just mix them up already. I have plans.
Oh, what a cranky.
None of them are going to be positive.
Mary, shut up.
What? Is one actually positive?
Oh my f***ing God. Becca, girl, I told you, you're pregnant. It's positive.
Shut up. You don't even know that it's mine.
Give me that. There's no way.
Why are you so scared? You're a virgin.
I'm just worried about Becca.
Both of you need to back off. I'm not pregnant.
Wow. Okay.
I knew this was a bad idea.
I have been gaining a little weight recently, and Gianna's been getting on my nerves more than usual. What if it's me?
I can't believe Becca's pregnant. sorry.
Sure, I get around, but there's just no way it's me.
All right, Becca, get in there and take a second test so we know if it's true or not.
You shouldn't count yourself out. You just hooked up with someone.
Guys, let's just drop this. It was probably a false positive.
I think you should take another test.
No, it's not me.
I can tell you're freaking out. You gotta know if it's you or not.
Maybe it's you, or Gianna.
Come on, don't start with me with the born-again virgin. You're not on the pill and you hooked up with someone last week.
God wouldn't do that to me. How many people have you hooked up with in the past 24 hours? 17?
Oh, shut up. I could spill your little perfect secret to Gianna and she would tell the world that you're not God's little child.
You wouldn't.
Try me.
Becca taking the second test?
Oh my god, why not you? You sleep with just as many people and you're not on birth control and I am.
Whatever. Why don't you go have fun at your next man's house?
Don't say that. I just want to be alone right now. Can you get out?
Jeez, okay. Still don't know why you're so worried. All you've ever done was kiss someone. Like 3 years ago.
Screw you, G. I'm out of here.
Have fun at your next man's house, whore!
Are you taking a second test?
No, why would I? I'll take anything else.
How about an STD test? I bet that would light up.
That's it.
You wanna go?
Stop it! You guys are so immature! Okay, if you want to see who's pregnant, fine, I'll just take it. They're both so immature. I'm sick of all the fighting and screaming. This ends today.
Why Mary stopped our fight? I was just getting started. But maybe her taking the test again will show Becca that she's the one that's pregnant. Maybe it's me. No, it's not me. No.
Even if I thought I was pregnant, Gianna is insane. And if she wants to act like she's from the Jersey Shore, go back there.
Thanks, Mary. Go get in there and show Becca that you're obviously negative.
Just tell her.
Tell me what?
Well, I'm a virgin, but a born-again one. But I also hooked up with 3 guys.
What? Why didn't you tell me?
I'm sorry, I just didn't want anyone finding out. Becca was right. Just give me the test and I'll take it. Hopefully it was a false positive.
I guess I'll take one too.
Fine, I guess I will too, just to be sure.
Good. Let's just all support each other no matter what.
Go ahead. Hey, at least if it's Mary, we'll know the baby will be raised right.
Yeah, can't imagine you as a mother. I'm sorry for fighting it.
Yeah, sorry for being crazy.
Well, is it positive?
I'm not looking until both of you take the test too.
That's fair. I'll go.
Are you nervous it's positive?
Actually, no. If it is positive, it will be God's plan. And I'm okay with that.
Okay. We'll be good babysitters.
All right, Becca, you're up. Then we'll all check together.
Sounds good.
How are you doing?
Pretty nervous, but I'm manifesting a negative.
Makes sense. I was hoping it was a false positive all along.
All right, let's do this thing.
Yeah, I've been new. Negative, bitches.
Oh my goodness, it's me. I'm with child.
It's okay. We can help build a nursery in the room.
Who's the baby daddy?
I'm not sure. It's either Kyle, Chad, or Abraham, so this should make for some awkward conversations.
Abraham? Where'd you do it?
Single parenting is a sin.
Abraham's ugly as f***. I didn't know he had it in him.
Or you could just never tell the guys and have a Mamma Mia moment.
I hope it's Chad or Kyle. That would be a cute baby.
Can I be the godmother?
Whatever happened to predictability? The milkman, the paper boy, evening TV. Did I get delivered here? Somebody tell me, please. This whole world confusing me. Clouds as lean as you ever seen. Ain't a bird who knows you're true. Then a little voice inside you whispers.
Joseph Samuel Razook, Providence College class of 2021. He hails from Shrewsbury, Mass, and can grow a sick beard. But the question remains, what do we really know about this man?
He's my personal trainer, and he's the hardest worker I know. And then, disaster struck.
He used to be Joe Razook. Now, he's no Razook.
The guy could do it all. Then everything changed.
He was the best. And then he wasn't the best.
He was the man, and now he's just a boy.
I love Joe. Maybe I was in love with Joe. But you know, Joe's nothing to notice me. Some of us try to de-stress by going to the gym and working out, but now many of us aren't able to have that option.
Because the doors here are closed, and it's the same story at places like Gold's Gym and Orange Theory Fitness.
All pubs, gyms, leisure centres, betting shops and casinos in the city have been ordered to close.
Bradley Martin is going to court tomorrow, and they're putting him in jail for keeping his gym open. It's been like a year, and they still have gyms closed.
One confirmed case of COVID-19 virus being reported by a local gym.
Because he said, right, I've got a gym, but I'm not going to close it.
You can exercise at home, you can use, if you have a home gym, great.
So we got some time to kill before he gets here. I say we investigate his floor, his room a little bit, which is where I'm standing, and see if everything he eventually tells us is the truth. Okay, so as you can see, a lot of beer. Not very healthy, but does have a lot of carbs, so maybe he's carb overloading. A lot of Dunkin'. Tells me he might be an early riser, drinks his coffee. Could be a good sign. We got half-eaten salad. A lot of food waste there. Nutrition bars. Nutritional. Eggs, protein. Oh! Wendy's. There's nothing that can benefit from eating this. These are a couple magnets of young Joe. Playing soccer. Tells me he's been an athlete for a while. That's a good sign. Let's see what he's got in here. Okay. I'm seeing some eggs, some meats. It's not a vegetarian, but definitely gets his protein then. Cheese, spinach, carrots, a lot of sauces. Bed is comfortable. That means probably getting good quality of sleep. So that definitely helps in the world of nutrition and building muscle. Oh, okay. Not a good sign, Joe. What are these doing for you? Come on. Oh. We hit the jackpot. Creatine. This guy does not mess around. Two giant boxes of Cheez-Its. Completely empty. Really, Joe? Giant bag of Doritos. Also completely empty.
What's up, boys?
Yo! The guest of honor himself,
How are
Mr.
you?
Joe Razook.
Nice to
How
see
are we
you.
doing? Shall we convene to the gym?
Let's head down.
So typically Joe's gym would be actually in the basement, but because it's such a lovely day out, I thought why not get the guys a little tan and enjoy this nice weather. But let me show you around some of their basic equipment. We have a nice pull-up bar that we usually attach onto the door frame. We have 2 sets of Bowflexes with adjustable weights, which I think are pretty nice. We thrifted those. And all the weights you see around here I actually got from a junkyard during quarantine. So I was able to kind of get all of them when I can. I got that nice easy bar, adjustable dumbbells, and some more weights. There are some actually heavier ones downstairs. But these are kind of the basic ones you need to get a pump. Over here we have 2 sets of bars. One's a powerlifting, one is actually the old traditional bar that was used before this one was in place. We have some nice fat grips on them for the forearms. This dumbbell, that's not a dumbbell, this kettlebell, sorry, my mistake. One of my favorites, it's 55, you can use it for almost anything. And we have some jump rope for cardio and 2 benches.
Wow. Well, let me ask one question. I noticed this little thing here. What is this?
This
What
little
is
thing. This is actually a tricky little sucker my dad got me back when he used to lift. All you do is kind of for the outside of the pecs and for the shoulders. You really just do this over and over. And it really kind of gets the inside crease and the outside of the chest. Give it a try.
Give it a try. No, I'm kidding. Come on. Come on. Yeah, but this thing is nice, though. Wow.
We have a lot of nice character pieces here at Joe's gym. That's what I think brings a lot of the members in and keeps them here for a while. You know what I mean?
A lot of characters here, eh?
Exactly.
Well, hey, I say we put some of this to use, all right? Let's do it.
I'm down.
Yeah.
Shout to all my boss boys. Shout Shouts to all my lost boys, we rowdy. Shouts to all my lost boys. Shouts to all my lost boys. Shouts to all my lost boys. Shouts to all my lost boys, we rowdy. Shouts to all my lost boys.
What gets you in the zone? What music do you listen to, or TV shows do you watch? Just tell me, what do you do while you're working out?
Depends on the day. If I'm going heavy, I need something intense, you know? I usually put on some hip-hop, some EDM, something to keep the pace and the stamina up.
Yeah.
But if I'm just going for a nice, easy, full body day, who knows? Maybe some Broadway, some show tunes, keep it casual.
I like it.
Thanks.
Yeah. Why don't we walk upstairs while we continue this conversation?
I'd love to.
Yeah. All right, so tell me, what apps do you use to work out? What gadgets do you have? Tell me, like, I know there's Apple Watch, Fitbit. Tell me, what do you use?
Me personally, I love my Apple Watch. I'm not wearing it right now, but that has a great technology to track your calories, your mileage. It even tracks where you ran.
All right, so we are in the kitchen. I've never seen your kitchen before, but it's looking good.
I've seen it better.
Yeah, that's all right. But tell me, what does your meal plan look like?
My meal plan usually consists of oatmeal and protein powder in the morning with about 3 or 4 eggs on some toast. I usually try to spice in an avocado if they're in season at the store, you know? All these.
I feel you,
99 cents. Then for lunch, I'll usually have a bunch of buffalo chicken, usually at the beginning of the week. I'll kind of blend up 5 or 6 breasts, put some buffalo chicken in there, just so I can always have that quick protein, you know what I mean?
I respect.
I'll have a big sub with some vegetables, and dinner, usually have salmon and rice.
Okay.
Yeah, nothing too crazy.
How about your snacking qualities? Do you, let's say, what do you eat? Like, sometimes, we all eat our Cheez-Its, our Doritos,
I know what you mean,
our Dunkin', our Frosties.
Sometimes the snacks do get to me, but I usually try to not eat as many as I can. But I do live with roommates, you know, and they're snackers, let me tell you. They are snackers, so it's tough. The vices are out, and sometimes I'll take a nibble of a Cheez-It or two. But you know what? It's, at the end of the day, it's just a Cheez-It. I can't complain. I'm living life.
Of course.
Exactly.
Well, anything else for us, Joe? I think we got pretty much everything we need to know here.
No, but if you ever want to become a member at Joe's Gym, just email joesgym@joesgym.com. You'll be set up with me, the owner of Joe's Gym, Joe himself. We can get you a nice consultation, maybe a personal training workout program. So give us a call. Thank you.
So, my name is Alex Richards, and I am an aspiring pro surfer from New England. My childhood, I grew up in Rye, New Hampshire, on a beach called Genesee Beach, a little bit north of Hampton, New Hampshire. Because I was so close to the beach, I had a lot of surfing. Once I was 6, we moved down to Hawaii for a few years to start surfing some bigger waves, and then once school started, I ended up going to a private school, an all-boys private school, so we moved back to Rye, and I started surfing the smaller waves again.
I'm Steele Sullivan.
And I'm Wade Justice. And we've been best friends with Alex since we were like 5 years old. We've always been a tight-knit group. We love to surf, but like Alex was always that odd man out. He would like go to the beach. We all lived on the coast of the North Shore. He'd go to the beach at like 6 in the morning, and we would just be all in our rooms till like 12, and he'd be calling us all morning like, yo, get to the beach, let's ride some waves. But his dedication was just way bigger than ours. I think Alex's passion for surfing really goes back to his uncle. Won a bunch of tournaments. Rest in peace, Arnold. He was such a great guy. We knew him as kids. And before he passed, he actually gave Alex this surfboard, and he's been surfing with it ever since. It's his favorite board. If he goes pro, I bet you he's still gonna be surfing on that board just for his uncle. I mean, I respect his passion. During our local competitions, we would even both compete. He would blow us out of the water. This kid shreds the gnar. Like, he surfs like nobody in the North Shore. Massachusetts alone, he's easily the best surfer. World competition, I think he stands a chance.
Yeah, I mean, I think Alex entering the competition, it goes right with his lifestyle. You know, he's always been a competitor. Just his skill alone, I've been watching him for the past 10 years, and you know, he's got all the skills you need to win a competition, so I'm really liking his shot this year. When I think about Alex's career as a surfer, I think of football players, you know? The really good ones, you know, DK Metcalf, those people are born and meant to go to the league. I relate that to Alex Richards. He was born to be this surfer. But you know why I respect him so much? It's because he can balance the surf and school life. He knows that, you know, surfing's there's not a lot of money in there for your entire life. So you gotta balance it. And you know, he's smart about that, and that's why I respect him so much. No, I'm not worried at all about Alex moving to Hawaii and forgetting about us, you know. It's his life, he was built for this, you know, like it's his journey. But you know, he's always been a day one for us. We've been surfing with him ever since we were kids. We learned to surf in the same boards, the same waves, and you know, we're just best friends. So I think Alex, you know, wherever he is, he'll take us with us, because you know, we're his ride or die. Yo, Alex, if you're ever seeing this, bro, just remember that time 2 weeks ago, May 14th, when you were riding down that 48-footer and you hit that 1680 into the 180 Hez snow flow, bro. That was the coolest trick I've ever seen you do.
Don't forget about last year's competition when you hit the 360 pop shove it
Oh.
down that 18-foot wave. Slide, dude. Alex, you got this, man. Do it for Arnold. Do it for what you love.
Arnold. Let's go,
see you
baby.
tomorrow, Alex.
To the top.
I go to school at Providence College in Providence, Rhode Island. Balancing school and surfing is actually pretty easy. People usually think that surfers are burnouts or beach bums or don't do much, and they're completely right. Currently have a 1.5 GPA. My major right now is undecided as a senior, which is usually not the course of action people take, but apparently I can take a 5th year, and that actually will some extra time to finish a major of my choice. I was leaning towards jazz studies. Either way, all I want to do is go pro surfing, but my family is super supportive of my career choice. I think they knew that I was destined to do this and become a pro surfer that I've always wanted to be.
My name is Chip Schroeder. I am Alex's surfing coach. I've been working with him maybe about 10 to 15 years now, and there's been incredible progress. I remember when he was just in the little wave pool at Funtown Splash Town, kind of just body surfing with his friends, and I really saw the potential in him. So we kind of progressed from the wave pool to the boogie board to now the surfboard, and you've seen the film. He's one of the top talent in the world. Alex's daily workout routine consists of 4 a.m. workouts, where I wake him up out of bed with a big pile of seaweed and salt water just to kind of acclimate him right from the start. I then bring him down to the basement and we do a series of surfer-based exercises, kind of strengthening his delt, his lats, really the muscles needed to swim out into the rough currents where we will be competing around the world. The way I work the elements into his workouts is depending on the season and depending on where we're surfing. I will kind of schedule ahead what the climate will be like and then try to acclimate him 3 to 4 months prior to his competition. There have been some competitions in the eastern part of South Africa where it sometimes gets cold, So we'll have a snowball fight every once in a while just to kind of get him used to that kind of cold current. But it really just takes more of a mental preparation for that. His body's designed to take on any type of water temperature, any type of rip tide. So it's more of an Alex kind of adjustment, if you ask me. Do I believe Alex can win the World Surfing Competition in Hawaii? I think he does. I think he can. I think he has the potential to win. It's really up to him. He has all the assets needed to win. I've given him all of my advice, guidance, and it's really up to his determination, his courage, his grit, see if he can really swim through the tides and eliminate the competition. Alex, we've been working together for a while. I've seen you put in blood, sweat, salty sweat, salt water, and tears into all of this, and I know you can do it. Put your mind, your heart, and your fin into everything you got.
My trainer, Schroeder, or Chip Schroeder for short, he usually takes pretty good care of me. He comes to my house every morning. Then we do our usual workouts, some surfing related, some just to, look nice on the beach. After the workouts, I usually won't shower. I'll come upstairs, I'll make a nice avocado toast breakfast with some coffee. I'll pack usually 2 to 3 lips depending on the morning, and then hop in the shower because then you can just spit down the drain, which makes it a lot easier. Take a ride over to Newport, get on some waves. So the waves in New England are marginally much smaller than the ones in Hawaii. Much choppier too. As you could just say, they're not good waves, the ones from New England. I mean, you make do. You get a long board and you ride that and you dance around on it a little bit. That's where you get the points on the dancing on the long boards. Hawaii is more of a short board territory, but I feel like at home it kind of helped me practice on the long board, carving and cutting down the waves. And yeah, it was pretty sweet. So past competitions in the New England area is usually between me and one other person because there's not many people who do surf up here. So most of the time that person is not as good as me, as they say. In the surfing world, not as good for someone who just can't surf as well. Being the best surfer in New England has a lot of stress that comes along with it. It's not always as stoked as it would seem, not always as psyched. But with being the best surfer, it does mean that I pretty much win every competition I go against. I know that not many people surf in New England, so the competition isn't as thick as it may be in Hawaii, where I used to be from. But even then when I was surfing, I was like 7, so those kids mostly weren't surfing as well as I was. But in New England, I'm the best there is, and I do have one rival. He's always there. He's always on my tail. His name is Michael Shaw, and he's one of the best surfers that I've ever seen in New England, other than me, of course. I really think he has what it takes, but I think I've beaten him pretty much every time, except for one time where me and him were on the same wave, and thinking he was going to be cordial and thinking he was going to be a party wave. We both went on it together, riding the same wave, both riding toe side, down the barrel. We're both actually in it together, and then Shaw pulled back with his heel side, went right into me, knocked me off, finished the wave, and actually won that race, so I never forgot that. I would say I'm passionate about surfing because one time when I was 5, I went out in the water on a paddleboard and I lied on my back and the tide took me about 2 miles down shore and I actually fell asleep on the board and I woke up in a different town. And so the waves brought me in and the waves brought me into the beach and everyone was like, oh, who's this little kid that actually showed up on our beach? I was like, it's me. And so when I showed up on the beach, I realized that the waves will always bring me back, so I might as well surf them. I would say the closest thing surfing compares to is being born. Every time you get on a new wave, it's like being born again. Not the religion, whom I have much respect for, but it's like being born again every time you're on a wave, because you get pushed out of the mother that is nature, and you're shot out into a world onto a rocky, sandy beach, and I mean, your life just changes. Winning the competition would mean everything to me. I mean, it would make my parents proud of me. Wade, he's always been there for me. He would be so psyched. I know Charles, Chip, Schroeder, my trainer, has put so much time and effort into our training, so I know that he'd be stoked if I won. But really, it's really for the love of the sport. If I lost, I mean, it would definitely be a blow, but I mean, it's all for the love of the sport. I would definitely have my academic career to fall back on. I'm going to graduate, And with that 5th year, I should be able to choose a major, which would be great. But I will always love surfing, even if I lose. So there's actually a saying my friend Wade, Party on Wade, always says to me. He says, "From the ocean we were born, to the ocean we shall return." And I took that to heart.
CBS Sports and the PGA Tour proudly present to you the FedEx Cup Playoffs. We welcome you to the Northern Trust on another gorgeous August summer afternoon right here in the New York metropolitan area. It's in the 80s, not as breezy as it was yesterday and earlier in the week. There are just some vistas here that are pretty much unmatched. Just a spectacular sight. And what they have done here at Liberty National to construct this site that has not only hosted this event 2 previous times, but a President's Cup here in 2017, and now the Northern Trust. Some of the world's best competing here, but also 2 amateur golfers trying to secure their PGA Tour card. With a victory, the loser goes home. Let's take a look at the leaderboard. You see Matt Collin at the top. His dad, of course, won a few majors on the tour a while back. Brian Longo right on his heels, the former Division III All-American. Jordan Spieth, Rory McIlroy, a few others trying to make some noise on a Sunday.
And welcome back here to CBS Sports coverage of the Northern Trust Open. Once again, Jim Nantz alongside the two-time Masters champion winner, Nick Faldo.
Okay.
We're live.
Oh, my bad, Thomas. That's on me. Just got back out of Maui.
Oh, how was Maui?
Oh, it was gorgeous this time of year. This is really my first stop right out of there.
Well, Nick, let's get back to the golf tournament. I know you're a big partier yourself, and one guy like that, one of our 2 featured golfers, Brian Longo from East Tennessee State Farm and Agricultural College. He is kind of a great story to get behind. I know you're a big fan of him as well.
Oh, of course. He's personally one of my new favorites on the tour. Really, he has a nice John Daly vibe to him. Really just goes out, grips it, rips it, beers, cigs on the course, the whole 9 yards. It's really a lot to like.
Well, there's a lot of fans that really don't like that vibe as well. What do you have to say to those haters?
I say it's time for golf to loosen up a little bit. I know I'm still an old-fashioned guy, but it's time to start accepting some change, bring some new eyes to the sport especially. It's great for golf.
Well, he is good for golf right now. Tied for the lead, trying his PGA Tour card, along with our other featured golfer, Matt Collin, at the University of Texas. You play with his dad on the PGA Tour. What can you say about Matt as a golfer?
You're right, I did. You know, Matt, he has that pedigree from his father, but they're 2 completely different golfers. His father, he really had that short game down, but Matt, he really can put a hurting on that ball off the tee.
Well, definitely he can. And what are you excited about going into this week in our final round? Matt and Brian trying to duke it out in the Northern Trust.
Really just two completely different styles. Matt, he has that pedigree. He's by the book, University of Texas. Meanwhile, Brian, just a scrappy guy, really. We'll try, maybe he can get ahead of Matt throughout the course. We'll see throughout the day.
Well, definitely. Once again, that's our pre-game show. We're going to meet the 2 golfers next, Matt Collin and Brian Longo, here on the CBS Sports, presented by Bradley Cafe.
Cheers, Thomas.
We're joined by our featured golfer now, one of our 2 featured golfers, Mr. Brian Longo out of East Tennessee State of Agriculture and Farming. Brian, thanks for joining me.
Cheers, man. Thank you for having me.
Brian, I know you like to have a good time out there on the golf course. Your guy likes to have a couple beverages, a couple cigarettes, a little bit of everything. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, you know, back when we grew up on the farm, we used to have our cigs and our beers on the farm, so I like to bring it out on the course with me, you know, here and there. I like my caddy to get involved with that too, so I have to make sure that he's doing the same thing.
Now, there's been a lot of kind of feedback from a lot of these old-time golfers. They're really against that. You know, a guy named John Daly, about 20, 30 years ago, kind of similar guy to you, from the South. You know, you like to have your beer, your ice cream, your Diet Coke, and all that. A lot of people don't like you on the golf course. You know, you get some booze sometimes from the gallery. What does that mean for you?
Sure. John Daly, a big inspiration of mine back in the day. Definitely got me off the farm and into golf, looking at a guy like that. I think they got to just shut the up. This is a sport. We don't have time for that.
But granted, I mean, golf is more of a higher echelon class, and a lot of people will applaud you for doing what you do as well. What do you say to those people?
I just tell them, I'm out here to play well. I got my caddy with me. He drinks a couple beers too. We're going to have a good time. We're going to put up a good score, hopefully, and we'll see what happens.
All right, let's talk about you in the golf tournament so far. You've been red hot, although there have been a couple blow-up holes. You had recorded 4 quadruple bogeys so far in this tournament, but you have fired back with a boatload of birdies and eagles. I mean, what's going on out there?
Yes, sir. When I run out of cigs, I have those blow-up holes, but, I'm back out there. I'm trying my best. I got the cigs and those beers going, and we'll see what's going to happen. The pressure's there. Growing up on the farm, we used to be worried about the crops going bad. I feel the same way about golf. If I blow up on one hole, we're done. So we got to see what we can do.
Well, you got to bring home that bread. You're the breadwinner, Brian. I mean, come on.
Sir.
You got to eat. Your family's got to eat.
Yes,
what would
sir.
winning an event like this do for you in your career?
It would really bring me to the next steps. It'd be life-changing. Maybe get some more sponsorships. Maybe Bud Light, a company like that. So I don't have to drink Natty anymore. But we'll see.
Big fan of Natty Light at all?
It's pretty cheap. I like it.
All right, well, that's going to do for us here in the booth. Don't forget, we're sponsored by Bradley Cafe here on CBS Sports. Next up, we'll have Mr. Matt Collin. Jim Nance once again here on CBS Sports. Inside Butler Cabin here on the PGA Tour on CBS Sports Network. Again, joined alongside now Mr. Matt Collin. We talked to Brian Longo earlier, and now here Mr. Matt Collin. Tie for lead with Brian here in this week's event. Look at a little background about Matt himself. Golfer, senior golfer at the University of Texas down in Austin. Of course, Jordan Spieth played down there. A lot of famous PGA Tour golfers compared to Brian, who played at East Tennessee State of Agricultural and Farming. Matt, I'm going to throw it to you first, okay? You're the son of a PGA Tour golfer, played 20 years, and if you win this event, you get your tour card. What would a win like this to get your card and follow in your footsteps do for you?
Yeah, it would mean a lot. I grew up watching my dad play, being around, the bunch of different events that he would play in, being able to practice and see the work that he and other, players back then put in. That was very helpful to me. And, being able to be, on the tour like them and seeing that all the work that I put in got me there would be something really special. So I'm looking forward to that, and hopefully I can get it done this week.
Now you're playing in the final rounds of this PGA Tour event. This win, again, will get your PGA Tour card. You're playing with Brian Longo again. Both you guys are amateurs, still in the college ranks. But really, you guys are a total 180 of each other. Brian's a little more, let's get the crowd pumped up, and you're kind of more relaxed and laid back. I mean, there are a lot of guys that don't respect Brian inside the ropes, inside the clubhouse. I mean, what do you think of your competitor you're going to be facing tomorrow?
Yeah, he's definitely different. Not to say that that's a bad thing, but he's definitely a little different, growing up from a non-traditional background. But that's good for our game. We need to expand the game of golf from just being guys like me, country club players. So being able to have him drink, smoke cigs and all the time, it's really good for golf, and hopefully it draws more fans. We'll see what happens.
What have you seen of your week so far? You're a guy that's a par and birdie machine. Not much really over that, Brian. More of a quadruple bogey guy, but an eagle machine. How can you compete with Brian on the course tomorrow?
Yeah, we're both tied going into the lead, so he's obviously played well. But I'm not going to think about the way he's playing. That's not going to dictate how I play. I'm just going to focus on each and every shot. Be aggressive when it calls for it, and pull the reins when I got to. But
well, definitely for sure. Matt Collin, everybody, out of the University of Texas. He'll be matched with Brian Longo from East Tennessee State of Agricultural and Farming. Matt, good luck on the course tomorrow. Thank you.
We get you out on the course on the par 4. Fourth, we catch up with one of our leaders here, Brian Longo. See the first 3 days of work. He's got the big stick in his hand, and we'll catch the fairway.
So you do drugs, kid?
Yeah.
How often?
A couple times a week.
Good. What I like to hear.
Next up, we got Matt Collin at the Allen Green on the par 3 8th hole.
Got 152 yards. Should be just a nice, comfortable 9-iron for him. They're going to go nuts when he hits this thing.
An ace for Matt Collin on the island green. That will get the crowd going.
We're about 100 yards. 100 yards.
Now we're here on the 13th, par 5. Ryan Longo in somewhat of contention, but he's got to catch up here.
54 work?
That should do it.
Hold my beer, sir. Give me another one.
No, we'll just go over there and drop it.
Nope, give me another one.
All right, you're the boss.
Here, Brian Longo has put it in the water, and now a little bit of discussion with his caddy, but he wants it another here. I don't know what he's doing.
Come on. All right, one more.
Come on.
Nope,
Brian.
give me it. Nope.
This
Give me
isn't
the ball.
good, man.
Nope.
All right.
Give me the ball.
You do you, man. I'm done.
Get over.
This one's for all the marbles. Matt Collin lining up his putt on the 18th. They're trying to win Northern Trust and clinch his PGA Tour card after Brian Longo raced back with 3 eagles and 2 birdies.
Well, we're waiting.
Collin wins. Collin wins. Collin wins. Ladies and gentlemen, we got to get out of here. This place is blowing up. We're heading out. So long, folks. Jim Nance alongside Sir Nick Faldo. Until next time.